The story begins with a quiet evening. The city lights were glowing outside, and the human Daniel was sitting near his window, reading a book. Everything seemed normal, until a soft sound from his communication device broke the silence. The screen blinked with a strange message. It was not from a human. It was from his alien friend, Kyle. Daniel felt a small wave of surprise. Kyle rarely sent him personal messages. Usually they only spoke when they worked together on science projects at the academy. But this time, the message was different. It was short and yet full of mystery. "My mother invites you to our home for dinner tomorrow evening. She wishes to meet you." Daniel read the line again and again. His heart started beating faster. It was not normal for alien families to invite humans to their homes. In fact, most aliens avoided humans in personal matters. The cultural gap was too wide. Humans were often seen as emotional, unpredictable, even fragile compared to the cold logic of alien society. So why would Kale's mother, a respected figure in her community, invite him? What was the meaning behind this dinner? Daniel leaned back in his chair. 1,000 questions circled in his mind. Was this a gesture of respect? Was it some kind of test? Or maybe it was a warning. He did not know. But one thing was clear. This was no ordinary invitation. The next morning, Daniel could not focus on his work. Every thought returned to that message. His curiosity grew stronger with every hour. He remembered Kale once telling him that his mother was a woman of strong character, wise and respected, but also mysterious. She rarely spoke to outsiders. The idea that she wanted to meet a human felt strange, almost impossible. When the evening arrived, Daniel stood before the mirror, adjusting his simple but clean clothes. He wanted to appear respectful but not too formal. He whispered to himself, "It's just dinner, just dinner." But inside, he knew it was more than that. Outside, Kale was waiting. His tall, alien figure stood calmly under the streetlight, his eyes glowing faintly in the dim air. Without words, he gestured for Daniel to follow. They walked together through quiet streets until they reached the edge of the alien district. The houses here were tall and curved, built with strange shining, materials that seemed alive under the night sky. Finally, they arrived at Kale's home. The entrance was wide, marked with glowing patterns that shifted slowly like breathing lights. Daniel paused for a moment, staring. It felt like the house itself was watching him. Kale noticed his hesitation and gave him a small nod, as if to say, "Be calm." The door opened without a sound. The air inside was cool and carried an unfamiliar fragrance, something sweet yet sharp, almost like spice mixed with flowers. Daniel stepped in slowly, his eyes scanning the room. The walls were decorated with symbols glowing softly like stars. Furniture was low, elegant, and unlike anything human. And then she appeared. Kyle's mother entered the room. She was tall, graceful, her skin carrying faint patterns of silver that shimmered under the light. Her eyes were sharp, deep, and unreadable. She wore a long dark robe that moved softly as she walked, and there was an air of command around her. Like a queen, who needed no crown. Daniel felt a chill run down his spine. She was not just any mother. She was someone powerful, someone who carried secrets. She spoke in a calm voice. "Welcome, human. I am glad you accepted my invitation." Daniel bowed slightly, trying to keep his voice steady. "Thank you for inviting me. It is an honor." She studied him for a long moment, as if she could see right through him. The silence stretched, heavy and uncomfortable. Then slowly she smiled. But it was not a warm smile. It was the kind of smile that hides more than it shows. "Dinner is ready," she said. "But remember, this evening is not only about food, it is about truth." Daniel's heart skipped a beat. Truth? What truth? What was she planning to reveal? He followed her into the dining room, his mind full of questions. The table was already set with strange alien dishes that glowed faintly in the light, but Daniel barely noticed the food. His attention was locked on the alien mother. Something about her presence told him that this dinner would not be ordinary. Something hidden was waiting to come out. And Daniel realized, as he sat down, that his life might change forever after this. Daniel sat down at the long alien table. His heart was still beating fast from the strange words the alien mother had spoken. This evening is not only about food. It is about truth. Those words echoed in his mind. He looked around the dining room, trying to understand where he really was. The room was unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls were curved, smooth like polished stone, but alive with faint glowing veins that pulsed slowly, as if the house itself had a heartbeat. Strange paintings filled with moving colors hung across the walls. Each one seemed to shift when he blinked, showing shapes he could not fully understand. The air was filled with a sweet and spicy smell, unfamiliar yet not unpleasant. On the table were dishes that looked like art rather than food. Bowls of liquid shimmered with rainbow reflections, plates of green leaves curled into strange patterns, and small glowing fruits pulsed softly as if they were alive. Daniel felt nervous even looking at them. Kale, his alien friend, sat beside him calmly, as if everything was normal. But Daniel noticed Kale's mother watching him closely. Her sharp silver eyes never left him, studying every movement. Daniel tried to smile politely. "Your home. It is beautiful." Her lips curved into a small smile, but again it was not warm. "Beauty is only one layer. What matters is what lies beneath. Do you agree, human?" The question was simple, but Daniel felt it was not just small talk. She was testing him. Carefully, he replied, "Yes, I believe what is inside matters more than the outside." The alien mother tilted her head, her silver patterns shimmering slightly. She said nothing more, but Daniel felt as though he had passed some silent test. The first course was served. A servant placed a bowl in front of Daniel. Inside was a liquid that glowed faint blue, with small particles moving inside like tiny stars. He hesitated. Was this safe for humans? Would it harm him? He looked at Kale, who gave a small nod of reassurance. Daniel lifted the spoon and tasted it. The flavor was unlike anything he had ever known. It was both sweet and sharp, soft and burning, a mix of feelings that made his mind swirl. For a moment he felt dizzy, then strangely calm. He placed the spoon down slowly. Kale's mother spoke, again. "Tell me, Daniel, what does it taste like?" Daniel thought for a moment. "It tastes like fire and water together, like a storm that ends in peace." For the first time, the alien mother's smile looked real. "Interesting. Most humans cannot describe it. You see more than most." Daniel felt a mix of pride and fear. Why was she so interested in him? The dinner continued. Each dish was stranger than the last. One plate held thin strips of glowing meat that tasted like smoke and honey. Another offered small crystal-like cubes that melted in his mouth, filling his head with images of forests and rivers. Every bite felt like more than food. It felt like an experience. But with each new taste, Daniel noticed the same thing. The alien mother never stopped watching him. Her silver eyes studied his face, his reactions, his emotions. He felt like an insect under a magnifying glass. Finally, Daniel spoke. "May I ask, why did you invite me?" The alien mother leaned forward. The room grew silent. Even Kale seemed to hold his breath. She answered slowly, "Because humans are different, and I wanted to see if you are like the others." Daniel frowned. "Different in what way?" She said nothing at first. She simply lifted her hand and her silver skin caught the light. Her voice became softer, almost like a whisper. "I have seen many humans. Some are weak, some are foolish, but some are more than they appear. I want to know which one you are." The words sent a chill down Daniel's spine. This was no normal dinner. He was being tested, examined, judged. But for what reason? The meal continued in heavy silence. Daniel forced himself to eat, though his mind was racing with questions. Why him? Why now? What truth was she hiding? At one point, Kale tried to lighten the mood. "Mother, perhaps he is nervous. Humans are not used to our ways. But the alien mother only replied, "If he cannot face a simple dinner, how will he face what comes after?" Daniel froze at her. Words, what comes after? He wanted to ask, but something told him to stay quiet. As the last dish was cleared, the alien mother rose from her seat. Her tall figure seemed even more powerful in the dim light. She looked directly at Daniel, her voice calm, yet full of weight. "Tonight is not finished. The food was only the beginning. Now we must speak of things hidden." Daniel's chest tightened. His heart pounded louder than ever. He realized the real dinner was about to begin, the dinner of truth. Daniel sat in silence as the alien mother's words echoed in his mind. The food was only the beginning. Now we must speak of things hidden. His heart pounded. He had expected a meal, maybe polite conversation, but not this. The alien mother gestured with her hand and the lights in the room shifted. The walls glowed a deeper silver, and the table seemed to pulse like a living thing. Daniel swallowed hard, unsure if this was technology or something stranger. She spoke slowly, her voice calm, but powerful. "In our culture, dinner is more than eating. It is a moment of truth, a time when we see what lies inside the guest. Food is only the surface. Now we reach the heart." Daniel looked at Kale, hoping for comfort, but Kale's face was unreadable. He seemed almost afraid to speak. That silence told Daniel everything. Whatever was about to happen, it was serious. The alien mother raised her hand, and servants placed a new dish in front of Daniel. It was unlike the others. The bowl was filled with a dark red liquid, thick, and glowing faintly as if it carried light inside. The smell was strong, sharp, earthy, almost metallic. Daniel hesitated. "What is this?" Her silver eyes locked on his. "We call it the mirror dish. It does not show who you are on the outside, but who you are inside. For our people, it reveals truth. For humans, it is unpredictable. Some refuse to taste it. Others cannot handle what it shows." Daniel felt his throat tighten. A test. He was sure now. This dinner was not about manners. It was about something deeper. Carefully, he lifted the spoon and took a sip. The taste hit him immediately. It was bitter, sharp, and then strangely sweet, like memories mixed with fire. His vision blurred, and for a moment he was no longer in the room. Images flooded his mind. He saw his childhood, his father teaching him to be brave, his mother's gentle smile. He saw moments of fear, moments of failure, but also moments of courage, when he stood up for others, when he protected someone weaker, when he chose kindness over anger. The vision ended suddenly, and Daniel gasped. His hands trembled. The bowl glowed brighter now, as if reacting to what it had seen. The alien mother leaned forward, her sharp gaze fixed on him. "Interesting. You carry both fear and courage, weakness and strength. But you choose to rise, even when it costs you. Few humans can endure this dish. Fewer still leave it glowing." Daniel tried to steady his breath. What does it mean?" Her voice softened. "It means you are not ordinary." The room fell silent. Kyle's eyes widened slightly, but he remained quiet. Daniel's heart raced. Not ordinary. Why did she care? The next dish arrived, but this one was not food. A small crystal orb was placed on the table. It glowed faintly like a star caught inside glass. The alien mother spoke again. "Now comes the second part. You will not eat, but you will answer. This orb will listen. If you lie, it will break. If you speak truth, it will shine brighter." Daniel stared at the orb. It pulsed gently, as if waiting for his words. She asked the first question. "Why do humans protect those who are weak, even when it brings danger to themselves?" Daniel thought carefully. "Because we know what it feels like to be weak, to need help. Protecting others is how we give meaning to our own lives." The orb glowed brighter. The alien mother nodded slowly. The second question came. Why do humans dream of things that cannot exist? Daniel breathed deeply. Because dreams are hope. Without hope, we would stop moving forward. Again, the orb shone brighter, filling the room with warm light. Her eyes softened, but her voice remained firm. Last question. Why do humans fight, even against impossible odds? Daniel paused. He thought of battles, of struggles, of times when humans refused to give up even when defeat was certain. His voice was steady now. Because sometimes the fight itself matters. Even if we fall, we show that we stood for something. The orb glowed so bright that Daniel had to look away. Then it dimmed back to a soft glow and remained whole. The alien mother leaned back, her silver patterns shimmering more brightly than before. Now I see. You are not here only as my son's friend. You are here because humans carry something that even our kind cannot fully understand. Daniel felt both relieved and unsettled. He had survived the questions, but he knew this was only the beginning. The real reason for this dinner was still hidden, waiting in her eyes. She rose slowly, her tall figure casting long shadows across the glowing walls. You have done well, Daniel. But tonight there is still more to reveal. Eat what remains. Rest your strength. The hardest truth comes after. Daniel's hands trembled as he lifted his spoon again. He could feel it now, the weight of secrets, pressing around him. The food was no longer just food. Every bite was a step deeper into a mystery that might change his life forever. The room grew quiet after the glowing orb faded. Daniel sat still, his mind spinning from the strange test. He had spoken from the heart, but he could not understand why Kale's mother seemed so focused on him. What was she really searching for? The alien mother rested her long hands on the table. Her silver patterns shifted slowly across her skin, glowing faintly in rhythm with her breathing. When she spoke, her voice was calm, but carried a hidden weight. Now, Daniel, it is time for questions. Real questions. Not about food, not about symbols, but about who you are. Answer honestly, and you may leave this table with respect. Answer falsely, and you will lose everything you have gained tonight. Daniel swallowed hard. He could feel Kale's eyes on him, quiet but supportive. The air was thick with tension. The alien mother leaned forward. Tell me, human, why do your kind chase power, even when it destroys them? Daniel hesitated. It was not an easy question. He took a slow breath. Because power promises safety. Many humans think if they have power, they can control their lives, protect what they love. But sometimes, the hunger for power blinds us. We forget the purpose of it. We forget that true strength is not in control, but in protecting others. Her eyes narrowed, studying him. The silence stretched. Then she gave a small nod. A fair answer. You admit the flaw, but you also show the heart. Good. The second question came swiftly, her tone sharper. Why do humans destroy their own world? I have seen your cities, your wars, your waste. Do you not love your home? Daniel's chest tightened. He felt shame, but he spoke honestly. We do love our world, but humans are foolish sometimes. We forget that what we take may not return. Many choose greed over balance, yet even so, there are always some who fight to heal, to rebuild. We are not perfect, but we learn. Slowly, painfully, we learn. The alien mother's gaze softened for a moment. She seemed to remember something, but her expression quickly turned firm again. Her third question was colder than the others. Why do humans lie? Daniel looked down at his hands. He had lied before, like any human. He could not deny it. Because the truth can be heavy. Sometimes we lie to protect, sometimes to survive, and yes, sometimes for selfish reasons. But lies always leave wounds. The strongest humans are those who choose truth, even when it hurts. The alien mother stared at him for a long time. The silence was so deep that Daniel could hear his own heartbeat. Then she whispered, "And yet lies can also save lives. Do you believe that?" Daniel hesitated. His voice was quiet. Maybe, but if lies save us in the short time, truth saves us in the long time. Her lips curved slightly. Not quite a smile, but not anger either. She seemed to respect his courage. Then came the hardest question of all. Her voice lowered, and the lights in the room dimmed as if the house itself listened. Tell me, Daniel, why do humans risk themselves for strangers? I have seen it with my own eyes. A human runs into fire for someone he has never met. Why? What reason can explain such madness? Daniel froze. He remembered a moment years ago when he had saved a child from drowning, though he had nearly died himself. He thought of people he had seen in news reports rescuing others in disasters. He did not need to think long. His answer was simple. Because we know what life means. Even if the stranger is unknown, their life is precious. In that moment, we don't think of danger. We only think of saving them. It is not logic. It is something deeper. Maybe it is love for life itself. The alien mother closed her eyes. For a moment, her silver skin flickered as though something inside her stirred. When she opened them again, her gaze was sharp, but filled with something Daniel had not seen before. Pain. You speak of love for life. But what if that life once belonged to your enemy? Would you still save them? Daniel's voice was steady now. Yes, because saving life is about who we are, not who they are. For the first time, the alien mother looked away. Her fingers tightened on the edge of the table. Kyle shifted in his seat, watching her carefully, almost protectively. The room was heavy with silence. Finally, she whispered, "Perhaps you understand more than I thought. Perhaps you are ready." Daniel frowned. Ready for what? But she did not answer. She rose slowly, her tall figure casting a shadow across the glowing walls. Her eyes, cold and unreadable once more, locked on him. There is one final truth you must hear, but not yet. Not until you are strong enough to carry it. Daniel's chest tightened. His curiosity burned, but fear mixed with it. What truth was she hiding? Why was he the one chosen to hear it? Cale touched Daniel's shoulder gently. You have done well. Few humans could stand through my mother's questions, but remember, this dinner is not finished. The hardest part is still ahead. Daniel nodded silently. He knew now that this was no simple visit. This was a path into something deeper, something dangerous, but also something that might change his understanding of humanity itself. The alien mother left the room, her steps slow, almost heavy. Daniel sat in silence, the taste of her questions still lingering in his mind. He realized that tonight was not about food, not even about friendship. It was about proving what it meant to be human in the eyes of another world. And the real test was still waiting. The room was quiet after the alien mother left. Daniel sat at the table, his hands resting on the strange, polished surface. His thoughts circled endlessly. Every question she had asked still echoed in his head. He felt drained, like every answer had been pulled from his very soul. Cale finally spoke, his voice low. You did well, Daniel. My mother does not ask such questions without reason. Daniel looked at his friend, searching for clarity. Why me? Why these questions? What is she trying to find? Kyle hesitated, his eyes shifting away. She carries memories. Heavy ones. Perhaps she sees something in you that reminds her of them. Before Daniel could ask more, the door opened. The alien mother returned, moving with slow, deliberate steps. Her silver patterns glowed dimly, weaker than before, as if the weight of something inside her had drained her strength. She took her seat at the head of the table. The air felt different now, heavier, colder, yet charged with something unspoken. For a moment she did not speak. She only studied Daniel with eyes that seemed older than time itself. Finally her voice came, soft but steady. You wonder why I ask such things, why I test you. You deserve an answer. Daniel leaned forward, slightly. He could feel the tension wrapping around the room like invisible chains holding them all still. The alien mother looked at Cale, then back at Daniel. Long ago, I thought humans were nothing more than reckless creatures. I believed you were weak, selfish, and dangerous. Many of my kind still think the same. But her voice faltered for the first time, trembling slightly. Something happened. Something that changed me. Daniel's chest tightened. He could sense the moment was important, yet he dared not interrupt. She continued, her silver eyes unfocused, as if she were seeing another time, another place. It was many years ago during the border wars. Our colony was attacked by raiders. Fire consumed our streets and fear ruled the air. I was younger then, strong but untested. I thought I could protect everyone. I was wrong. Her voice lowered, heavy with memory. I was trapped under the ruins of my own home. The flames grew closer, the smoke choked my breath. I believed I would die there. None of my people came for me, not one. They feared the fire, they feared death. And then, she paused, her hand trembling slightly on the table. A human came. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. She raised her eyes, locking them on him. He was a soldier far from his unit. He had no reason to help me. He did not know me. Yet he tore through the fire, lifted the ruins with bleeding hands, and carried me out. He was burned, broken, barely alive, but he smiled as he placed me on safe ground. His last words before he fell were simple. You matter too. Her voice cracked, and for a moment, the proud, commanding alien mother seemed fragile. No alien had ever done such a thing for me. No one had risked everything for nothing in return. That day, my view of humans shattered. I saw your kind not as weak, but as something else. Something dangerous, yes, but in a way the universe desperately needs. Dangerous because you care, even when logic says not to. Daniel sat frozen. The weight of her story pressed down on him. He could almost see the fire, smell the smoke, feel the sacrifice of that nameless soldier. Cale lowered his head respectfully. He had clearly heard parts of this story before, but never like this. His mother rarely spoke of it. The silence that followed was thick and heavy. Finally, Daniel spoke softly. I'm sorry. That must have been impossible to forget. Her eyes narrowed slightly, but not in anger. Do not pity me. Remember me. Remember him. That human saved more than my life. He saved my understanding. And now, every time I meet one of your kind, I must know, do you carry the same fire? Or are you hollow like so many others? Her words pierced Daniel. He understood now. The dinner, the questions, the tests. They were all to see if he too had that same spirit. Daniel swallowed, his voice trembling but firm. I can't be that soldier, but I can try to live with the same courage. Maybe that is what makes us human. We keep trying, even when it hurts. The alien mother closed her eyes for a moment, breathing deeply. When she opened them again, there was something new in her gaze. Not just sharpness, not just command, but a hint of quiet respect. You may not be him, she said softly, but tonight you have shown me that his kind was not an accident. Perhaps there are more like him. Perhaps humanity still holds that light. Daniel felt his chest loosen, as if the tension of the evening had finally cracked open. But he also knew this was not the end. She had revealed her pain, her truth, but there was still more hidden in her eyes. The dinner was no longer just a test. It had become a confession. And Daniel realized that the next part of the evening would take him deeper into the alien mother's heart than he had ever imagined. The room was heavy with silence after the alien mother's confession. Daniel sat frozen, his heart pounding, his thoughts swirling like a storm. He had not expected this evening to take such a turn. What started as a simple dinner had now become something far greater. The alien mother sat upright, her sharp silver eyes locked on him. The glow on her skin shifted slowly, dim and then bright again like a heartbeat made of light. She breathed deeply, and when she spoke, her voice was lower than before, softer, but each word carried power. You have listened to my story, Daniel. You know why I question humans. But you do not yet know why you were invited here tonight. This dinner is not about my past. It is about my future and yours. Daniel felt a chill run through his chest. He leaned forward slightly, unsure if he even wanted to hear the rest, but unable to stop himself. She continued. Since that day, when a human saved me from fire and death, I have lived with a secret. I carry two faces, one for my people, and one for myself. To them I am strong, unshaken, unbending. To myself, I am a woman who knows that humans carry something that even we, with all our knowledge and strength, do not. Compassion without reason, courage without reward, love without demand. Her words cut through the silence. Even Cale lowered. His eyes, as if hearing his mother's hidden side revealed, made him uncomfortable. She had never spoken this way before. Daniel spoke softly. And that is the side you have kept hidden? She nodded slowly. Yes. My people see mercy as weakness. They see sacrifice as waste. If I showed them the truth I carry, I would lose their respect. But I cannot silence it inside me. That is why you are here tonight, to see if my belief in humanity was wrong, or if it was right. Daniel felt his throat tighten. He realized now that this was not just a test. This was a burden she carried, one she could not share with anyone else. And somehow, he had been chosen to be part of it. She stood slowly, her tall figure casting a shadow across the glowing walls. Her robe moved like flowing water as she stepped closer to him. She stopped only a few feet away, her silver eyes burning with intensity. You remind me of that soldier, she said quietly. Not because you are strong with your body, but because your heart answers before your mind does. You speak of hope when logic says despair. You speak of truth when lies are easier. That is the human fire I saw long ago. That is the side of you I needed to see with my own eyes. Daniel swallowed hard. His voice trembled, but he managed to speak. Why me? I am no hero. I am just a man who came because a friend invited me. Her lips curved into the faintest smile. That is exactly why you did not come to prove anything. You came with open hands, not weapons. You came as yourself. And that makes you dangerous, Daniel. Dangerous in a way my people cannot understand. You carry no shield, no sword, yet your presence shakes the ground beneath us. Kyle finally looked up, his voice breaking the heavy silence. Mother, do you mean to say you see him as proof? Proof of what you've carried all these years? She nodded. Yes. Proof that the fire I saw in that soldier was not only his, but something born inside humanity itself. Proof that my hidden belief is not a weakness, but a truth. Daniel felt his chest tighten. He had never thought of himself that way. He had never imagined that a simple dinner could turn into something so meaningful, so heavy. The alien mother returned to her seat, her expression calmer now, though her eyes still glowed with emotion. You must understand, Daniel. What I reveal to you tonight I cannot reveal to my own people. To them I must remain their strength, their certainty. But to you, I can be more. I can show the side of me that still believes humans are not a mistake of the stars, but a gift. Daniel's voice was quiet. And what do you want from me now? Her gaze softened, and for the first time there was no command in her voice, only honesty. Nothing. Only that you carry this truth with you. That you remember what I have said, and that you keep proving in your own life that my faith in your kind was not misplaced. The tension in the room seemed to break then, like a glass shattering silently. Daniel let out a long breath he had not realized he was holding. For the first time that night, he saw the alien mother not as a figure of power, but as a being carrying deep scars and hidden hope. She leaned back in her chair, her expression tired but peaceful. The dinner has ended. The test is complete. But the story of what I revealed to you, that continues, Daniel. For you, and perhaps one day, for all humans and all my kind. Daniel nodded slowly. He knew he would never forget this night. He had come expecting only a meal with a friend's family. Instead, he had walked into a truth that connected two species and carried the weight of sacrifice, love, and respect. As he looked at Kale's mother one last time, he saw her surprising side not as weakness, but as strength of a different kind. The kind born from compassion and carried in silence. And in that moment, Daniel realized he had not just been a guest at dinner. He had been witness to a secret that could change everything. The glow of the alien home dimmed as the night grew late. Daniel sat at the long table, silent, his thoughts heavy with everything he had heard. The food, the strange tests, the glowing orb, all of it felt small now compared to the revelation Kale's mother had shared. For the first time, Daniel no longer felt like a guest at a dinner. He felt like he had been pulled into something larger, something meant to shape his understanding. Of both humans and aliens, Kale's mother leaned back in her seat. The proud, commanding expression she had worn for most of the evening was gone. In its place was something gentler, something more human. "You have given me what I needed, Daniel," she said softly. "Not answers, but proof. Proof that my hidden belief was not a dream." Daniel lowered his head respectfully. "I only spoke the truth, nothing more." Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "That is why it mattered." Kale looked at his mother carefully, his voice calm but full of curiosity. "You have carried this for years, Mother. Why reveal it now? Why him?" She closed her eyes for a long moment, then opened them again. The silver glow in her patterns flickered gently. "Because truth must not stay buried forever. Because I needed to see it again before I grow too old to believe. And because sometimes, the stars send the right person at the right time." Her gaze returned to Daniel. This was that time. Daniel's chest felt heavy. He had never thought of himself as chosen or special, but sitting there under her piercing eyes, he realized how deeply she believed her words. The silence stretched, warm but heavy. Finally, the alien mother stood. She walked around the table, her long robe brushing softly against the glowing floor, and stopped in front of Daniel. "You came here with uncertainty. You leave with something far greater. Tonight you carry not only your humanity but also my trust. Guard it well." Her hand, long and graceful, rested briefly on his shoulder. It was a small gesture, but Daniel felt its weight. It was the kind of gesture that carried generations of struggle, pain, and hope. Daniel looked up at her, his voice quiet but steady. "I don't know if I deserve this, but I promise I will not forget." She nodded slowly, then stepped back. "That is all I ask." The evening began to close. Servants cleared the table and the glowing walls dimmed further, shifting to a softer silver hue that marked the end of the meal. Kyle rose and moved beside Daniel, his expression calmer now. "You see now," Kyle said gently, "why this dinner was never about food." Daniel gave a small laugh, though it was tired, almost sad. "I see it was about something much heavier." Kale's mother turned to her son, her tone softening in a way Daniel had never heard before. "You must carry this too, Kale. You must remember what he has shown us. The future will ask hard questions of both our kinds." Kale bowed his head. "I will, Mother." Daniel rose slowly from his chair, feeling the weight of the night on his shoulders. As he looked around the alien home one last time, he realized how deeply this evening had changed him. He had not just shared a meal, he had walked into a secret that could shift the way two species saw each other. The alien mother's final words lingered in the air as Daniel and Kale walked toward the door. "Go, Daniel. Carry your fire. Carry it proudly. The universe will need it." Outside, the night sky stretched wide and endless. The stars glimmered like silent witnesses to the truth he had heard. Daniel breathed deeply, the cool air filling his lungs, washing away the heavy taste of strange foods and questions. Kale walked quietly beside him, his tall figure glowing faintly under the starlight. After a long silence, Kale spoke. She does not open herself to many. Tonight, you saw a side of her that even I rarely see. Daniel nodded slowly. I know, and I will never forget it. They walked together through the silent streets, the alien city glowing faintly around them. Daniel's mind replayed every word, every image, every question, but one line stayed with him more than the rest. Dangerous, because you care. That was what the alien mother had called humans. Dangerous not because of weapons or armies or technology. Dangerous because of compassion, because of love, because of courage that defied logic. Daniel smiled faintly to himself. For the first time, he began to understand what humans are special truly meant, not perfect, not flawless, but carrying something no other species could fully explain. When he reached his home, Daniel stood for a long time at the window, staring at the stars. Somewhere out there, countless worlds spun with life, intelligence, and power. Yet tonight had shown him that even across all that distance, even across all those differences, one truth remained. Humanity mattered, and he would carry that truth with him forever.